Okay, welcome back, guys.
Welcome back. Bit of a different episode today.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's at night in Queensland and very early morning
we
on
basically,
your end.
yeah, exactly. We basically switched schedules, so it's your kind of evening, my night, and my morning, which is
Yeah.
good.
I mean, it's a good little change up, but
No, it feels
yeah,
good. Early mornings are so nice because like obviously I fasted the past I'm fasting 3 days where basically the moon is basically full during the month, and that just boosted me like so much. It's like, I don't know. I really needed it, honestly. It's crazy because I don't know if I was telling you this, but I was feeling kind of low energy from the holiday break up until basically that point.
yeah. So a
Maybe
bit more low vibration, that
exactly
sort
low
of stuff.
vibration, exactly. It's kind of slow,
Your body was what was it? Very like carb heavy as well. Just
pretty
very,
much. I think it's
yeah,
partly due to the weather because it got really cold. And then also there's less sunlight, so you don't get as much vitamin D, which kind of kills
yeah,
your mood and kills it kills everything pretty much in your system.
and makes your immune system a little bit worse.
But I realize how fasting can actually counter that now, because it kind of like you're pushing your own system now to rely more on its like internal resources, right?
Yeah, like your willpower is that what you mean? Like
Exactly,
your inter
your willpower, but also your body's like internal kind of mechanisms. So, like for example, instead of relying on food to supply energy, it will more rely on like itself to, like for example, look at areas of fat inside the body to break down, right? And then
yeah.
that's gonna kind of like another thing with fasting. I don't know if I said this in a previous episode, but it keeps my mood so calm and like easy going, right? Like,
Yeah, I can definitely see. I understand where you're coming from because fasting just keeps you hungry, it keeps you focused, and it just basically gets you like ready to kill. If you
yeah,
know what I mean.
there's a you have to be delicate with yourself in a way. It's like you're going to be hungry, but you can't let that hunger kind of affect your mental state,
Yeah,
right? So, like for example, maybe like for instance, I'm at work, and then there's something that's not working, like my specific code or something like that. I can't let these things like actually bother me to a kind of personal, even like spiritual level where I kind of like I lose grip of myself, right? So
yeah,
it's one thing that fasting consciously makes you do, right? And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been great so far. I don't know. You told me you used to have these fasts also like before, or I don't know if you still do them.
I still do them. I still do them. I just do. I just do like a solid. Like I just don't eat any food. I just drink water and just drink caffeine. Drink coffee, drink water. That's all I do. So I drink like that, and then I just basically work, make myself work for the reward of food, or even it just depends. Like some days, if I don't feel like I've earned it, I just don't eat for like 2, 3 days. That's just a me
Right.
thing because I've worked hard enough.
Got you.
It's like it's a very much a sort of ancient sort of mindset of it because it's like what would it take me to kill the bull? What would it take me to kill basically the pig to get the food? Or what would it take me to kill this animal to get food?
Yeah, I see what you're
How
saying.
many? All right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like you're going back to kind of like primitive instincts. Like you people back then would have to hunt for their food, and so they put in so much
Yeah.
to basically go out there, make their tools, their spears and whatnot, and then like sacrifice days to basically get their food on the table, or on, I guess, like I don't know what they would have back then if it was on the table, but pretty much like it goes back to
Get
that.
the food to the community.
Yeah. And today's like modern age, I guess, would come down to like where everything got processed for us, like all the food, kind of like hunting it, cleaning it, whatever, processing it, putting it in fridges and whatnot, like at home. All of that gets taken care of. So now we have to
Yeah,
push ourselves further to um basically fast. Like we have to do this like practice to consciously to, you know, get the same like kind of trigger the same kind of primitive instincts to get the
yeah. Plus, on top of that, these days we have unlimited food, which is a major reason why I'm like, they didn't have it back then, but we got unlimited food now. If I just basically don't eat, it's fine because I can just basically refuel myself up with basically infinite calories. Whereas they couldn't do that as well.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is like the food quality didn't
It's
really,
also much poorer
yeah,
compared to what it was.
especially in like countries that don't necessarily have the the soil or the farm or the climate for that food, right? That's another thing. So,
Even with like industrial farms is probably not the greatest thing because they just plant the same thing over and over again. Like they plant the same thing 4 or 5 years in a row and just basically saps all of that resource needed to grow it. So then it can't regenerate the soil unless you plant like it's not going to be like you know how they used to have like a full crop cycle back in back in the agricultural revolution, they used to have a full
mhm.
plant cycle, whereas now they've
Yeah,
only
yeah,
got a
for
one
sure.
or two
Yeah,
plant
the food
cycle,
quality
which
is a lot better.
yeah, just nutrients wise, yeah, we lose a fair bit.
That's
But
right.
also that's when you can make it up for obviously going back to what we said in previous episodes, like the grass fed, the like non sprayed organic stuff, and yeah, you can just go back to that and just be like, this actually fills me up a lot better than what it would if it was like, let's just say, a grain fed steak or something.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how food is going to be processed further, like in the future, but like for now, we can clearly see like it's not. It's been everything. All the quality of the food has been watered down, and that's something like you gotta be just mindful of. Like even think about it in the future when you're kind of raising your own kind of family. You still have to have an idea of like what kind of quality food you're gonna put into your family's table. Well, that's another thing too, right? Like people, I mean, I don't know how it is, but like for my generation, it's one of those thoughts that you don't really think about. Like, you don't really think about the quality of food that you're gonna put on the table, like, organic grass-fed meat, for example, or like even organic vegetables, like non-GMO, natural produce, all of that. Like you don't really think about, you know.
No, because we get told they're the exact same thing
Yeah,
as well. Like even think about this, like what would your parents say if you bought like let's just say grass raised pasta like was it precious organic grass raised steak or whatever it is? What would your parents say? Would your parents say why don't you go with the cheaper option like
yeah,
just your
exactly.
typical
They
supermarket
would do the
steak just
same
be
thing. They would say that. They would say go for the cheaper option. Organic is too expensive and whatnot. And then
what's the difference? Yeah.
pretty much so, but that's also because like the country that we like, at least in Canada, it's not as easy to raise these like, you know, this kind of like this. Well, you can't. It's not easy to raise like cattle like that, and then have it grass fed here, like especially in the winter and everything. It's tough. That's why they kind of raise prices, because the process is expensive, and it's like kind of like a scarce, almost like well, not a scarcity, like that. Like what I mean not like a, but you know what I mean? Like
I mean,
it's not
you
as
could
easy.
say
Yeah,
freeze.
pretty much. So if I was back home, like for example, Morocco or even a country like a warmer country that had like a lot more focus on food, I don't know. There's a lot more like maybe in East Asia and all like around the world, I would say you won't pay as much for something like that, right? For grass-fed meat, you know.
No,
You could probably even like go out there and pick what kind of like you can go to a farm while the animal is still alive and pick literally the one you want to eat and then like ask them to, you know, do the whole like process for you in front of you, you know, instead
yeah,
of like having it done like and then stored in a refrigerator, you know. Pro it's and then 2 3 days, you know, it's like the quality of your meat is gone.
yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. So I was just thinking, even compared back to what they used to do, they used to just like absolutely just salt it. But obviously, I think the refrigeration and the whole thing of basically putting your stuff in the fridge is a bit. It makes sense. It's just a bit like, I mean, compared to what they used to have like these little meat shelves that used to have meat lasting for like weeks at a time.
Wow, interesting. How would they keep it
Yeah,
cold?
they wouldn't keep it cold. It'd just be room temperature with salt on it just to preserve it.
That,
And yeah,
that's in,
so it kind of makes you wonder why we got fridges. But
yeah. I guess
that's
maybe the smell, it would probably smell a bit like
weird.
weird every time you go inside your house and you're smelling that. I don't know,
Yeah,
but uh,
it's that
but I wouldn't mind it.
not.
I wouldn't really mind it. You can probably there's probably ways to counter that like smell. It's not really like something that should bother you, but
No, I mean, you could always just smoke it for a few days or even dry age it.
yeah, exactly. Dry aging is another thing too.
But yeah, they had a bunch of possibilities, and then they got even more possibilities now. So
Yeah.
you just basically choose the cookie you want to crumble.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna close this episode now. It's like almost past your time, like way
Yeah,
past time. So yeah, like I
I just
guess to conclude everything, you know, it's just important to have a lot of mind and attention on what you eat, what you consume, but also what you deprive yourself of, right? Like there's benefits both ways, and it's super important, you know, both
and
like
think
physically and spiritually. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's also the very important thing to add on it, the mentally and like spiritually part on, especially when you're fasting, because you're consuming a bit of your spiritual, or you're consuming a portion of your spiritual energy,
Mhm.
but that gets converted into like obviously a more refined, a more how should I, you understand where I'm getting at. Your spiritual energy comes out stronger at the end.
Yeah, exactly. People see that like when you interact with them socially, you'll see it in yourself, and then yeah, just better days ahead of you, pretty much.
Yeah. Perfect way to end it off. I'm just gonna end that off here.